Hello everyone! It's Tuesday and I am yet again Alex Axe, also known as Alex Wells. And you can see today I am on a slightly different part of the site, and that is why the sun is coming in from this direction and I'm getting a little squinty because of that, but you know, it's not like these are super high quality production value videos anyway, so it'll all work out. So I've had a great morning so far. I had birthday cake for breakfast, which I highly recommend. You know, with like a little cup of tea or a cup of coffee or, you know, whatever you like. Probably not orange juice unless it's a citrus cake, because that could get kind of like... But anyway, I like birthday cake, which is a great segue into my topic for today, which actually is about disliking things. So yesterday I talked about, you know, it's getting older and you're still allowed to like things and like things very passionately, and that's cool. And, you know, part of being kind of like a geek and into fandom is really loving stuff. But the sort of other side of that coin is not liking things. And we're capable of disliking things quite passionately as well. And you know what, that is actually also okay, because the whole key to liking things and not liking things is not being a jerk about it. Here, I want to be very clear that I'm talking about when, you know, there is no harm in liking or not liking things. We're talking about things like art and food and media and, you know, your favorite fiber art or things like that, where your personal disposition towards them is not a thing that is going to cause active harm in the world, as opposed to, say, if you like neo-Nazis, you are a bad person and you should feel bad. So that's I want to make that distinction first. I am here talking about things that are entirely based on your personal preference and are sort of like non-harmful entities. So there's a thing where when someone likes things, they kind of like can be pretty aggressive about promoting it and make like generalized statements that are really upsetting at times. Like, I'm still a little butt mad that someone on Twitter at one point was like, well, if you don't like Steven Universe, you have insufficiently interrogated your own queerness. And I was just kind of like, because I know that when you care about something and you really like it, you want the world to like it with you. But we have to keep in mind that the world is this amazing rainbow spectrum of humanity, and everybody has different experiences and different feelings and different perspectives, and not everyone is going to connect with the same piece of art in the same way. And, you know, or the same media in the same way. Not everyone is going to have the same feelings about it, and that is totally fine. And I think, especially when there's something that's really important to us that we really love and feel like it has touched us or it has helped us or you know, has had great emotional significance, it can actually feel a little hurtful when someone doesn't agree that it's like the best thing ever. However, the flip side of that is that, you know, people don't have to like what you like, and that is okay, as long as they're not jerks about it. Like, you need to be not a jerk about liking things, and if I don't like it, I also need to not be a jerk about it. There's this really great little song on YouTube that I'm gonna find and link in the notes, but it goes, "It's okay to not like things, it's okay, but don't be a dick about it." So that's kind of like, that should be the guideline, you know. Either way, like, liking or not liking things is acknowledging that not everyone needs to agree with you, and if people don't agree with you, that's not actually a personal judgment, and you should not feel personally attacked, because most of the time somebody not agreeing with you about liking something is not personal. Well, I mean, it is not personally directed towards you, it is personal toward their preferences about how they feel about it. Like, the other thing to keep in mind is like, how you talk about things is actually very important. Like, when you make a generalized statement like Iron Man 3 is the worst movie ever made, like, that is something that invites argument and discussion. And, you know, if somebody feels kind of personally attacked by that because Iron Man 3 is perhaps their favorite movie for whatever reason, and you just basically said your favorite movie is the worst movie ever made, you know, that's kind of fair to have a bit of a reaction about that. And there should be an expectation that if you are going to make a sort of generalized statement, there's an implied invitation to argue, I guess, because, you know, if nothing else, Iron Man 3 is the worst movie ever is like basically the thesis statement of a paper, like an argumentative paper that you're going to support with evidence. Presumably you have evidence or, you know, reasons that you believe what you believe. And then it is open for discussion. So like that is one kind of thing, you know, or if you're like, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is the greatest thing ever made, and if you don't like it, you're wrong. That is a statement that can be taken to heart, because you are basically making a judgment on other people when you make statements like that, and you need to be aware of that. On the other hand is an I statement. Like, an I statement is just how you personally feel about something, and it is not prescriptive, it is just descriptive. You're saying, I feel this way about a thing. And I feel like there is a tendency for people to kind of confuse these two types of statements, like the generalized statement and the I statement. Because literally when you're just saying, I feel this way about a thing, you are, you know, that is not an invitation for somebody to argue with you and tell you that you are wrong to feel the way you feel. A lot of people take it that way, and that's kind of an issue because that's kind of a dick thing to do. But it's a statement of personal preference that does not make judgments on other people. Now, I also know that when someone is like, you know, I feel this way about a particular thing, there are people who can take it personally. And that is something, like, if you have a tendency to do that, that's something you need to work on. Because when someone is saying that, you know, just them, the one thing they control in the world, themselves, this is how they feel about it, that is not a judgment on you. That is not a judgment on the property in general. That is not, you know, saying terrible things about you most of the time. I mean, you know, like I don't like this and everyone else is wrong. Okay, that is a judgment statement. But if it's just, this is how I feel about something, you need to be like Elsa and let it go. I mean, it's perfectly acceptable when someone says, I don't like X, to be like, oh, hey, well, I do like X. Why do you not like X? That's totally okay. And if they want to tell you what's going on with them and why they don't like it, that's fine. As long as you are willing to respect that, because the thing you need to understand is when we're talking about this, like, stuff like media and art and things that you have a personal relationship with that have to do with how you receive it, that you don't really get to tell people that how they felt about it is wrong, or how they, you know, that their taste is wrong, or things like that. You know, about the only maybe exception is like if someone says, well, this thing that literally didn't happen in the plot of this book happened, and you can be like, where was that? I missed that. Oh, and maybe it's all a big mistake. But I mean, speaking in a very general sense, when someone says, I don't like pepperoni pizza because it's greasy and it makes my tummy hurt, like, you don't get to argue with that. Or, you know, I don't like white chocolate because when I was a kid, I ate a giant block of it and then spent hours bazooka barfing it back up, and I just can't eat it anymore. Like, you don't get to argue with me on that, because that is how I feel and it makes me sick. So, you know, I really would like to see people kind of respecting that more when someone is making an I statement about how they feel about something. Stop telling them they're wrong, because they're telling you how they personally relate to a thing, and there isn't, you know, for the most part, there isn't a right or wrong to it. There is just different from you, and what is different from you is not defined as wrong. And I also want to point out that a person not liking something does not diminish its presence in the world, does not belittle it. I mean, in a way, especially when we're talking about, like, food, like, I don't like white chocolate. That means when I'm around, if there's white chocolate, there's more for everyone else, because I'm not going to eat it. You know, like, I might not like a movie, which means I'm not going to financially support it, but I'm not going to stop you from doing it. And kind of the reason this is coming up is because, you know, yes, I'm the asshole geographer, and I wrote 2 blog posts for Tor.com about how I don't like the geography of Tolkien's Middle-earth map, which is actually just because a lot of other fantasy maps have copied it, and they have terrible geography as well, and it kind of annoys me. And the thing is, like, that part where I was out there being like, I think these maps are terrible, that is something to totally argue with. I've had people argue with me about, like, I totally missed the purpose of the maps, and, you know, some more personal insults, and we're not going to talk about that. But that's fine, because you know, I basically made a thesis of an argumentative essay, and if people want to disagree with me, that's totally cool. I'm just not necessarily going to spend a lot of time reading your responses or whatever. But there's nothing wrong with disagreeing with me as long as you're not a dick, because I wasn't a dick. But then I also said, you know, hey, I don't particularly like fantasy maps in general, because I don't. And, you know, I want you to note that this is an I statement. I do not like them. And that's okay. Like, there's no judgment if you disagree with me and you like them. I have my reasons for why I dislike them. If you disagree, that's fine. And the fact of me disliking fantasy maps does not in any way diminish them. It doesn't mean that I've gone through and destroyed all the fantasy maps in the world, or that I'm going to. It just means that I personally don't like them. But there's been this thing where, like, ever since then, every time somebody has written like a defense of fantasy maps, they felt the need to like tell me. And I don't care. You know, I want you to respect that I have a personal preference. Just like I don't like pepperoni pizza. I don't like Woody Allen movies. I mean, we're going to, for the minute, ignore the fact that Woody Allen is a piece of human scum, and I just don't like his movies, and I don't like that he's a piece of human scum. But, you know, it's okay to disagree with me, but you don't need to defend the fact that you like something, because me saying I do not like this is not a personal attack on you, and it is not an attack on the thing you like. So, you know, moral of the story, the one take-home lesson I want everyone to get out of this vlog is someone not liking the thing you like is not a personal attack on you, and is not an attack on the thing that you like. So, this brought to you by the fact that the only thing geeks are worse at than liking things is not liking things sometimes. So, wow, that was a little more of a rant than I intended. Everyone have a great Tuesday. I'm gonna do Geeks Who Drink tonight with my regular trivia team, and we're gonna have beer and free pizza, and hopefully we're gonna win again, so cheer for the Badgers. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.